community, and Aquaba to Espresso Talk Today. I'm your host, Alma Robin, and I'm having my turmeric coffee today for this informative and powerful show. And yes, of course, it's an uncommon show too. Today, we will discuss something called core values. So what could those be, and why are we talking about them? Great questions, and I have great answers for you. Core values might not sound sexy or fun or interesting, but they are. They're all of those things, and they're powerful. Trust me, this is an episode that you've been waiting for, even if you didn't know it. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're feeling this show, share it with your family, your crew, your circle, everyone in your community. Now, grab that espresso or tea. Tea drinkers are welcome here too. And close the door behind you. We're going to get deep and we're going to get real. And I hope that y'all are ready for this. Aquaba, welcome, dear brothers and sisters and beloved gender-neutral and gender-non-conforming folks. I am so glad that you're here today. This is your go-to podcast for insightful conversations on Black empowerment and liberation. Today, as I said, we are diving deep into core values. What are they? Why are they important? How can they make my life better? Why am I listening to you? I thought that this was a Black empowerment podcast show. So why are we talking about core values? They sound like a white thing. I gotta say it. Well, they are not. They are definitely connected to Black empowerment. You've got lots of questions. I have some ideas and thoughts that I want to share with you. And I have my turmeric coffee, so I'm comfortable. So let's get started. So, what are core values and why are they important? Core values are the fundamental beliefs and guiding principles that shape who we are and how we navigate the world. They represent what matters most to us, our deepest convictions, our priorities, our dreams. Taking the time to identify your core values is important. It's essential for living a purposeful and authentic life. Your values serve as your compass, guiding your decisions, your actions, and relationships to make sure they're all in alignment with your true self. Now, who doesn't want that, right? But here's the thing. Identifying your core values isn't always easy. Many of us just haven't taken the time to really think about what truly matters to us. Many of us just go through the motions. We go to school, we get a job, we develop relationships, we accomplish a few things along the way. We might have children, we might buy a house, we do all kinds of things. We retire, we travel. But we don't really think about what is most important to us. We're often influenced by external expectations. We're going to get to that. Societal norms, that too, and cultural pressures that define our paths and that may steer us away from our convictions, our priorities, and our dreams, or who we really are. Without a clear understanding of our core values, we risk feeling lost, unfulfilled, and disconnected from our true purpose. We might find ourselves making decisions that don't align with our beliefs or pursuing goals that leave us feeling empty and dissatisfied. We don't want that, do we? But it happens. Core values provide a sense of purpose, direction, and empowerment. They remind us of who we are and what we believe in and the kind of world that we want to create and live in and leave behind for the next generation. Okay, let's kind of get a little more real, a little more directed here. Identifying your core values is important for several reasons. I really sat here and thought about this. One, as I said, personal fulfillment and happiness. Understanding and living by your core values really can lead to a sense of personal fulfillment and greater happiness. When your actions align with what you genuinely believe in, you can experience a deeper sense of purpose and contentment in life. Here's another one. Core values serve as a reliable compass, as I said, for decision making. It makes decision making so much easier. When we're faced with choices, knowing our values helps us to make decisions that are consistent with our beliefs and our priorities, and it reduces feelings of doubt and regret. It's like going up to vote. If you go to you go into the voting booth and you have an idea, if you have a really strong idea of what's important to you, then you kind of know that, well, this candidate is very strong on that, or this candidate is very weak on it. So it's easier to make a decision how you're going to vote. Core values are like that too, because we are presented with an infinite number of possibilities, but only a few are going to be in alignment with our core values. Okay, let's move on to another reason. Goal setting and achievement. Core values provide a really strong foundation for setting meaningful goals. When your goals are aligned with your values, you are more likely to stay motivated, to stay focused, and to stay persistent in pursuing your goals. And guess what? When you achieve them, they're going to mean something to you because they are who you are. And this is some exciting stuff here. That's why I'm really so excited today. And this is how you become successful and how you accomplish your goals. It starts with your core values, that everything proceeds from that. Now, this next reason might be a surprise. It kind of was for me, but it makes sense. And when I think about it, yeah, it's absolutely true. Stress reduction. Living in alignment with your core values, with our core values, can reduce stress and internal conflict. When our actions match our values, we experience a sense of inner harmony. That's right. And matching your actions and values reduces stress and creates more balance in your life. I wish you guys could see me right now because I'm doing this, this balance thing. And it is true. When it does reduce the stress and it helps you to live more in more harmony. So identifying your core values really is essential for personal well-being, for decision making, for authenticity, for stress reduction, and goal achievement. And knowing your core values enables you to live more purposefully and intentionally. Again, isn't that what we all want? So that's why this show is so important, and that's why I knew that you were going to like this episode. And you can see, it's not a wide thing. So, this show is going to focus on two main questions. Number one, how can we start living more authentically and in alignment with our core values? Number two, what does this have to do with racism and Black empowerment? So, that's what we're going to focus on. Of course, we're going to start with number one, how you can live more authentically and in alignment with your core values. But first, we are going to take our first breather break. This gives all of us a chance to breathe for a minute. Before we dive any deeper, I think it's a good time to relax and clear our minds. Breathing helps with that. You might want to grab a pen or pencil and paper for this next section too. But I'll see you in a minute. But don't feel stressed. Take your time to breathe, clear your mind, and we'll see you back here in a minute. And y'all know that I love this song.
Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphones. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause
Asante Sana for staying with me. Thank you for staying with me. I hope that you did a little breathing or whatever you need to do to relax. I did, and I'm ready to get back to it. I will begin with that first question. How can we start living more authentically and in alignment with our core values? This process begins with self-reflection, introspection, and a willingness to explore what truly matters to us. I am going to stop here, change courses here a little bit for a minute, because I think that some of you are asking, okay, that's where I know what core values are by definition, but what are examples of core values? In fact, somebody just asked me that, so I think we should stop and do this. That's a great question, and I am glad that you asked. I'm glad that they asked me too. So, I have a list of some common core values that some people may prioritize in their life. Remember that core values can differ from person to person, and this list is definitely not exhaustive, not by a long shot. But here are a few examples, and I'm going to read. It's a list of 30 core values. If something resonates with you, then write it down. Maybe you can come back to that later. But don't worry, I have this list on the Espresso Talk Today website, and so you can sit here and listen, or you can write. It's up to you. Okay, I'm going to read them off pretty quickly though, okay? Because I want to get back to the other stuff. Integrity, respect, justice, compassion, community, family, love, self-improvement, empowerment, gratitude, courage, independence, equality, diversity, creativity, health and wellness, freedom, spirituality, balance, adventurousness, patriotism, open-mindedness, responsibility, innovation, achievement, legacy, leadership, adventure, friendship. So, those were 30 core values. As I said, these are just a few examples, and it's important to recognize, yes, that everyone may prioritize things differently. Most of these I thought, those are okay, but I don't want those to be my core values. In some I thought, absolutely, that is definitely one. And then in others I thought, I'm not sure, and maybe so, I need to think about it. Identifying and prioritizing your own core values can be a valuable exercise of self-discovery and personal growth. It can help you, as I said, to make decisions that align with your true self and bring more fulfillment. We will return to that later, but also I want to say, again, this list is on the Espresso Talk Today website at Espresso Talk Today. And there are some exercises that you can find there too. I'll discuss that later. So I think you do have an idea now of what core values are and some examples of them. And you can see how they can serve as a compass, helping us to make decisions better and that are more authentic to us and to our beliefs, and that help us to see what's important to us. Now, this is sounding complicated. I'm not going to lie to you, fam. I never lie to you. It is neither simple nor easy. That's right. But it's also not complicated. Living consistently with your core values requires intentional effort and ongoing self-awareness. It is work. But I do have some suggestions, things that can make it a little easier. Here are some strategies that can help you to ensure that you are aligning with your actions with your core values. Okay, here's the first thing. One thing we just did, clarify your values. Take time to reflect on and identify your core values. That is the first step. You can get the list from the website, as I said, and sit down with it. You're probably going to need more than one sitting, and that's okay. In fact, I think that's better that you do more than one sitting. Take the time that you need, and be honest with yourself. Don't choose something that you should want, but choose something that you actually do want. Consider what principles and beliefs are most important to you and what you want to prioritize in your life. You're going to probably choose more than one core value, maybe 5 or 6, maybe even 10, but they're all not going to be on the same level. Write down your values and revisit them regularly and to ensure that they remain clear in your mind. Here's another thing. You know I love doing this, guys. You know this is a big one for me. Practice mindfulness. Cultivate mindfulness in your daily life by staying present and aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors. Meditation can help with that. Present moment awareness is also helpful. That means, being fully present in the current moment when you're doing what you're doing. Notice when your actions are consistent with your values and when they're not. And mindfulness can help you to recognize moments of inconsistency and to make adjustments accordingly. This isn't about criticism, it's about observing and then making adjustments and learning. That's what life is about, isn't it? Okay, then let's align our goals. Ensure that our goals are in line with our core values. Set goals that actually reflect what matters most to you, and then prioritize those actions so you can move closer towards those goals. When your goals are consistent with your values, you are more likely to stay motivated and more committed to achieving them, and you will feel more fulfilled when you do achieve them. Okay, and here's another one, self-reflection, practicing self-reflection. Take time to reflect on your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors to assess whether they're consistent with your values. Ask yourself if your actions reflect who you truly are and if they align with what you believe. Journaling is really helpful with this. Meditation is really helpful with this. They're my go-tos. They really are. And also remember, you're not judging or criticizing or belittling yourself at all. You're observing and learning and adjusting. Okay, this is the last one, but this is also one I found to be kind of surprising, but it is so helpful. So please don't skip this one. Seek accountability and support. Your community can be so helpful to you. Surround yourself with people who share and support your goals and your values. Share your values with trusted friends, with family members or mentors, and ask them to hold you accountable for living consistently with those values. Having a support system can help you stay on track and navigate the challenges, because there will be challenges. Personally, I have a life coach who is very helpful with keeping me focused and accountable. I also have my fam and my sister group, so we are all talking to each other and observing each other and questioning and holding each other accountable. And it's actually a wonderful thing. Having another person helping you on this journey is essential. No one does this alone. And remember, you're going to be taken to sin, but you also have to make yourself available to help others too. It's not a one-way street. So by using these strategies and incorporating them into your daily life, you really can cultivate a greater alignment with your core values. Now that you've identified them, and that's going to take time, that's a big step right there. Then you're going to have to be be examining and observing your actions to see how they align with your values, and same with your goals. And it'll help you to experience that sense of fulfillment and purpose. And remember that living consistently with your values is a lifelong journey. And each step you take brings you closer to living authentically and in harmony with your true self. You see, this is why this episode is so important, because this is something we all want. And yet, core values aren't something that we often think about. We don't learn this in school. And so we're just expected to know it and do it. But that's just not how it works. But anyway, it doesn't matter when you start this. Now's a good time. And again, this is not easy and it's not simple, but these actions become habitual and they do become easier to incorporate into your life. Wow, that was a lot. So we are going to take another breather break here. Take time here to breathe. Yes, think, stretch, do push-ups, grab some coffee or tea, do whatever speaks to your soul. This is some great stuff, but we all need a break. Just a short break. I will see you in about 30 seconds.
Trying to get a lot of dough. Anything is possible. Turn me up in the headphone. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible.
We're back. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for showing the courage to stay in the building and discuss these difficult issues and to do the work. So you can see now how important core values are to living your best and authentic life. And each of us wants that, right? Of course we do. Yet, many of us just don't live by our core values. And in fact, many of us live in complete opposition to our core values. This is not a criticism and it's not a judgment. This is just a fact. But how does this happen? Well, good question. I'm going to say it happens little by little, step by step, decision by decision. I don't think anyone consciously decides that they will do the opposite of their core values. But we unconsciously do so, and the more we do it, the easier it gets. But there's more. No, this is not the end of the story. And I think that it's important to bring up this issue because it affects almost everyone. Actually, I'm going to go with everyone. So, let's look at some obstacles that can block or distract us from living by our core values. And these distractions and obstacles can make it challenging to align our actions and decisions with our deeply held beliefs and priorities. And guess what? Then we are not going towards our goals. All right, here are some common things that can interfere with living by your values. See if any of these apply to you. And remember, no criticism or judgment, observing and learning together. External expectations and pressure. I brought this up a little earlier. Yep, societal norms, cultural expectations, and even peer pressure can lead us towards prioritizing external validation over our core values, our own core values. I mean, do you ever feel compelled to conform to societal standards, even if it means compromising your values? Yeah, pressure from society can be huge, and we all feel that pressure, and that can divert us away from living by our core values. Here's another one: fear of rejection or fear of criticism. The fear of being judged, criticized, or rejected by others can also deter us from expressing our core values authentically. I mean, have you ever avoided taking a stand on an important issue to avoid potential conflict or criticism? I'm raising my hand here. I'm not proud of it, but it is true. No one wants to be especially publicly criticized, but that can take us away from living by our core values. Here's one we don't talk about much, especially in the white Western world: materialism and consumerism. The pursuit of material possessions and a focus on consumerism, this rampant consumerism, can lead us to prioritize wealth and status and material gain over our core values. Yeah, that's true. And not just at Christmas or during the holidays. This can happen all the time, any time of the year, because there's so many pressures to seek status and wealth and the trappings of status and wealth over how we really feel about things. I mean, do you ever feel compelled to sacrifice or do you ever feel that disconnect between what you value most, really, and how you actually live? Do you have the big house or seeking the big house, but then find you really just want to live more environmentally, more environmentally sound or in a more authentic way? Maybe not. Okay, another one. I think I'm going to get you on this one. Work demands and career pressures. Demanding careers and long work hours can often make it difficult for us to prioritize our core values. Do you ever feel compelled to sacrifice your personal values for the sake of professional success? Yeah, Okay, let's be honest here, because I know I have. Well, okay, here's one. Lack of self-awareness. Some people just don't fully understand their core values, or they haven't taken time to reflect on them. Remember, that's the work that we all got to do here, and we have to keep doing it. This lack of self-awareness can lead to a disconnect between the values and the actions, and then the goals and the outcomes. Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Here's another one: insecurity and low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem or feelings of inadequacy, and who hasn't felt that at least once, may struggle to assert their core values. They may fear that their opinions and beliefs just won't be valuable or valid. Everybody has felt that. No need to feel ashamed, but it is something that can divert us away from our core values. Well, here's one. Peer influence. Peer groups can significantly influence behavior, absolutely, and we all know it's true. If a person's friends or colleagues have different values or priorities, they may inadvertently encourage behaviors that are inconsistent with our core values. Has this ever happened to you with your friends or colleagues or peers? And actually, I know it's happened to everyone. It has happened to everyone. It's something to be aware of. Well, here's a surprising one. Lack of time management. Yes, that's right. Poor time management and overcommitment can leave us with little time and energy to focus on living consistently with our values. And we've all felt overwhelmed by the daily demands sometimes. And then we start cutting corners and making excuses and making adjustments. And all of a sudden, we are looking back and seeing that we're here and our core values are way over there. It happens. Time management is extremely important. You need the time to live authentically. And the final one, it's kind of consistent with one we talked about before: lack of support. A limited support from friends or family or the communities that share our values can make it challenging to maintain consistency. A lack of a supportive environment can create feelings of isolation and discouragement. And I always return to the importance of having a supportive community and connecting with other people who share our values and who support us. It does make a difference. So don't underestimate that. Take the time to find your mastermind, and or your fam and your community and just the people that you want to have close to you. And so to overcome these distractions and obstacles and live more consistently with our values, we all need to consistently and regularly engage in self-reflection, assertiveness, boundary setting. Yeah, I say that one. That's a big one for me. And seeking support from like-minded people or professionals. It often involves making conscious choices and navigating challenges to align our actions with our beliefs and our priorities. It's funny, it seems like that should be just the most natural thing in the world. In a way it is, but there's so many other things that can get in the way, and we just have to be aware of them. Everyone has their own special challenges when it comes to identifying and living by their core values. And so how do you know if you are living by your values? And that's a great question, and it's a very important one. And again, no criticism or judgment. And knowing whether or not you're living by your values requires self-awareness and the introspection and the self-reflection I keep talking about. But here are some signs, here are some red flags, let's call them, to indicate that you might not be living in alignment with your core values. Kind of an inner discontent. If you begin to feel a sense of dissatisfaction or unease with your life, despite external success, that could be a sign. And this inner discontent often arises when your actions and choices are not in harmony with your true beliefs. Number 2, conflict or an inner turmoil is very similar to the first one. You can experience inner conflict or turmoil when making decisions or facing certain situations. And this conflict arises when your values clash with the choices you're making. And sometimes you have that feeling that you are not being authentic. You sense a lack of authenticity in your interactions and your relationships. And you may find yourself acting in ways that just don't feel genuine or true to yourself. You know what? You got to go with that inner feeling. Like I said, you don't got to beat yourself up. You got to listen to it and make adjustments. Here's one. Repeated patterns of behavior. If you start noticing certain recurring patterns of behavior or decisions that don't align with your core values, you may be off track. Despite your best intentions, you might find yourself falling into habits or routines that go against what you believe in. We are creatures of habit, and so if you're not paying attention, you can start acting in the ways that you were before you identified your core values. Here's one good one. Disconnection from purpose. If you feel disconnected from your sense of purpose or your meaning in life, and I know that's when you have to listen to that still small voice in you that just may whisper that you're drifting off course, that you're kind of losing your purpose. You may be lacking clarity about what truly matters to you and struggle to find fulfillment or satisfaction in your activities. Okay, then there's this one, the stress and burnout. That's usually a little bit more visible. You experience heightened levels of stress or anxiety or burnout. Living in ways that are inconsistent with your core values, that takes a toll on your mental and emotional health and well-being, which can lead to overwhelm or exhaustion or stress and burnout. Well, and then the final one. Final one on my list, there are others. I was, thinking of a lot of different things that I've experienced, and this is the list I came up with. There are others, but here's the final one on my list. Having a sense of regret. You experience feelings of regret or guilt about past choices or decisions. And looking back, you may realize that you were compromising your values, you ignored your intuition, And this can lead to that sense of regret or remorse or really even disappointment. And that's a bad place to be. But we're not judging ourselves. You see it and you learn from it and you adjust and you keep going forward. So by paying attention to these signs and reflecting on your thoughts and feelings and behaviors, you can gain this insight into whether you're living consistently with your core values. If you can find yourself out of alignment, okay, that can happen. It does happen. It is never too late to make changes and realign your actions with what truly matters to you. And remember, you can always start over. You can start again. Take that first step as many times as you need to. Because remember that living with your core values is an ongoing journey, a commitment to authenticity, integrity, and self-discovery. And it's honoring your truth and living your authenticity. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, I like ending on that high note, this segment, because yeah, you can start again. You can always start over. No judgments, no criticisms. You can take that first step 1,000 times, okay? Because as long as you're going forward, you are evolving and growing. We are going to take one last breather break here. Then we're going to wind it down. We are very near the conclusion, and I know your energy or your focus might be low now. And that's why we're going to take a relaxing and calming breather break now. And then we're going to tie it all together. And I got some information that I think you're going to want to hear. Okay, I know that y'all are ready for this. Aquaba, and welcome back. I'm so glad that you are still here, because this brings me to our second major question. You've probably forgotten what it is by now. It's been a while. I'm going to ask you, what do core values have to do with racism and Black empowerment and liberation? Great question. And I know you've been waiting to hear the answer, and I know that y'all want to know this answer. But I'm going to turn it over to our great ancestor, Toni Morrison, to give us her wisdom on this question. And here she is. This is a quote from a speech from Toni Morrison. The function, the very serious function of racism is distraction. It keeps you from doing your work. It keeps you explaining over and over again your reason for being. Somebody says you have no language, and you spend 20 years proving that you do. Somebody says your head isn't shaped properly, so you have scientists working hard on the fact that it is. Somebody says you have no art, so you dredge that up. Somebody says you have no kingdoms, so you dredge that up too. None of this is necessary. There will always be one more thing. Well, Toni Morrison nails it here. And we are going to pick up right here in the next podcast show. Racism is a major obstacle to living by one's core values. But also, core values can empower us to fight the effects of racism and to empower us and to take us towards liberation. We gotta have it. And oh yes, we have a lot to talk about. This discussion is so important that the reality of racism, Black empowerment, and core values is our topic for the next podcast show. Yes, it does deserve its own episode. But don't worry, I won't leave you hanging. We're going to talk about racism. We're going to talk about Black empowerment, and we're going to talk about liberation, all in the context of core values. You see, core values is not a white thing. They may claim it for themselves, but it is not theirs. It's an everybody thing. But it's different for Black folks. It always is, isn't it? And that's how we're going to focus on it next week. So stay tuned and don't leave me hanging, and I won't leave you. So let us wrap up today's episode that introduced the fundamentals of core values. I have lots of extra information to share with you. I think I kind of said that a little bit earlier on. You can find a list of core values on the website at www.espressotalktoday.com. The list that I presented here on the show is a short list. I also have a longer and more comprehensive list. I think that has like 192 core values. I also have a few exercises that can help you to start identifying your core values, and a short quiz to see if you are living consistently with your core values. Yeah, there's a lot of great information, and I hope that you will use it. You can also contact me directly to ask questions or to make comments. And you can contact me on the website. Remember, it is www.espressotalktoday.com. Asante Sana for being a part of the Espresso Talk Today community. I look forward to continuing these uncommon conversations with you as we strive for empowerment and liberation for all oppressed people, not just for some, but for everyone. And so remember, my dear fellow warriors, know this deep in your soul. You are powerful beyond measure. Together, we are invincible. And the real problem in society, is white supremacy and racism. You are not the problem. Asante Sana to all people who are working to empower and uplift all the oppressed people of the world. And Asante Sana, thank you to you for being in the building and showing the courage to talk about these issues. If you want to keep discussing or reading about these issues, then you should definitely subscribe to my weekly Black Empowerment newsletter, the No More Beat. We discuss lots of different issues here. You can get your dose of Black empowerment every single week. Never a dull moment, but lots of powerful, uplifting, and liberating moments. You can subscribe at the Espresso Talk Today website at espressotalktoday.com or on Instagram at ama_Robin_L. You can also find us on Facebook in our newly opened Espresso Talk Today Black Liberation Lounge. This place is a safe space for us to hold discussions, to share thoughts and ideas, feel joy, express sadness, or to just be. Join us on Instagram to discuss these issues, share our thoughts, and find an uplifting and safe space where you are valued and heard. Find us on Instagram, again, at ama_Robin_L. I'm Ama Robin for Espresso Talk Today. And remember, now more than ever, strength, soul, and reparations. Ashe, community.